So previously I was bullish, current bias on step index. I'm currently bullish, right? I'm no longer bearish. I'm currently bullish, right? So from that point, we can actually tell that now we're going to be looking for buys, right, on step index. So the main purpose is to get buys, and at the same time is to be aware of pullbacks, right, of sell pullbacks, right? So we're going to establish the previous setups and the previous sell setup, right? So we can actually get the pullbacks and stuff, right? So we can actually know. So now I'm actually gonna do some analysis, right? And I'm gonna talk over the analysis and stuff. So I'm on daily, obviously. That's where I start. Look for breaks, right? Anything that is pointing towards that current bias, right? Let me close this. And just close this. There's too many tabs here. Let me close this one. Open too many tabs. I think not good enough. So yeah. So I'm gonna look at the overall bias. So 8 hour. So from 8 hour, obviously, we having that very same structure being broken. When we go below, we see the structure here, right? And at the same time, remember our bias is bullish, so we're no longer looking for buy pullbacks, right? We're no longer looking for buy pullbacks, although this is a buy pullback, right? So we know now that the market is actually targeting what? The setups, right? So instead of looking for pullbacks, instead of looking for pullbacks, we find setups, right? We find setups instead of looking for pullbacks. So yeah, I don't care about the spelling there. GNF around the same area. So we're no longer looking for these buy pullbacks, right? Why? Because the trend is allowing us to do what? To find setups, right? Towards that direction. So as you already know, we are marking this A here, right? So we are more concerned about the first A that gets broken. So that's the first A that gets broken, and it throws us where? Right. So the break is here. We go to a lower time frame compared to this. So this is 8 hour. We're heading to this time frame, right, which is 4 hour in this case. So we're heading to 4 hour and seeing what 4 hour has in store for us. So 4 hour is pointing where it's pointing here, slightly below here. Let's see 8 hour. 8 hour was pointing slightly around that same area, yeah. So 4 hour and 8 hour share the very same level. So just want to point that out because I just saw that it's pointing around the same level, right? So it's pointing here. It's pointing here, right below that candle that breaks that first A, right? So we have it. So that's the buy setup, right? On a higher time frame. So that's the buy setup there. And we want to see what actually happened. So what are we seeing currently? So we are saying that we actually missed the buy entry here. So that already has a meaning of its own, right? Which I'm gonna cover. So that means now, since we already have this, we need to identify our pullback, right? So this was used as a pullback to go to where? To go to almost the buy setup, right? So I'm gonna mark it with the red color so we know this is a pullback, right? So with the red color, we already know this is the pullback, right? So that was used as a pullback, right? So we already know pullback, this one, right? A deep one at that point. And obviously now we know that since this is a pullback, it's happening around here, right? So it acted as a pullback around here. So now it actually justifies our bias. So we're actually like getting like the accurate bias, right? So it actually gives us more confluence to say our current bullish bias is okay, right? So our current okay. So why, right? You want to know the actual reason. So the first thing we did, I closed a lot of things. Why was this thing saying this? Or is it? I doubt it's YouTube. YouTube doesn't need much time. So, all right. So we want to find the reason why. So the first thing we did is to identify the trend, right? And we said the trend is pointing where? It's bullish, right? We said the trend is bullish. So that means, that simply means anything that is said is a pullback, right? That's why we are saying our bias is justified, right? Right? So our bias is justified. So we already know that now this is a pullback, right? Rather than a sell setup. So this is a pullback rather than a sell setup, right? Why? Because the trend is bullish. So anything that is a sell is a pullback. And we're currently seeing that we're having a buy setup here, right? And the market turned almost close to that buy setup, right? Let me make it nicely. So we need to have accuracy, right? So we have that. Let me see. Did it retest? No, it didn't. Right, so it was few people away, right, from retesting. So our bias is correct, right, from based on this fact, right? That we said the trend is bullish, so that means anything that is a sell is a pullback. And when we look at the sell, specifically the sell, right? The sell is pulling back to where? To the buy setup, right? So this movement here is pulling back to the buy setup. So it verifies our statement. At the same time, it verifies our first thing that we actually wrote down, right? Which is that we were previously bearish, but then we are now currently bullish, right? I'm gonna click this. Don't need that. We know the current bias, right? So the current bias is bullish, right? So it proves that point, right? So that means buys are more strong, right? So now we're gonna find extra buys and extra entries based on that fact, right? Based on that fact. So let's see, what do we find? So I'm gonna go to, oh, we already said this is a buy pullback, right? So we already classified this one as a buy pullback. So let me mark it. We have this as a buy pullback. Remember, we found it where? Based on the fact that we marked this high here, right? This high here. Let me use a black line. This high here. Then we went below and we found this area here. So this was a buy pullback, right? But then we have no interest in it as much as we have interest in setups, right? So pullbacks are there just to give us like re-entries, right? When the market is going up and breaking them. So this one was a buy pullback. So they broke it. So we want to find where they broke it. So we had this zone here, and this is where they broke it, right? They broke it here, right? To continue the sell pullback, right? The sell pullback. So the sell pullback had another entry here. Let me show you. Had another entry there. So this is happening on like a lower time frame. So I'm gonna find it either way. Um, let's see 1 hour. Okay. What's the hold up with 1 hour time frame? The other time frames opened right. 8 hour opens. What's going on with 1 hour? See 1 hour. 30 minutes open, so we're gonna use 30 minutes either way. Okay, even 30 minutes is not showing us what you want to see, so we are going to M15. So let's see M15, M15, yes, M15 is showing us that sell pullback, right? So further verifying our bias, right, to see we are right with the bias. So we are bullish on steps. So I'm gonna do this, right? So as you can see, this is M15, so pull back to that buy setup, right? So first entry, and the other entries obviously they are here, right? You can use this, find other entries, which we will do, right? Just gonna focus on this one first and find everything that has to do with this pullback right here, right? And look, what do we have? We have a break. We have a break above here, right? So we have a break above here. All right. So we're gonna check other time frames as well. But then on MTT, it actually throws us where? It throws us here. So now I'm gonna be using like lower time frames based on the fact that I found this. So here's the key takeaway here is the minute you see a clear zone, right? So if one time frame is showing you here setup set up, or in this case a pullback, right? So M15 was showing us a clean pullback, right? So then it means the next trade is going to be around the three sets, right? Which is the three sets I mean by the other time frames, right? That go along with that time frame, right? So what goes with M15? M15 goes with MTT, and anything less than MTT, right? So that means that the next setup we're gonna find it somewhere here, right? So MTT being the highest time frame here. So let's see what M15 has to show us, right? What does M15 has to show us? So we want a clear zone. Remember, M15 showed us a clear zone, right? So it should always be obvious. Do you see how obvious this one was? So the next one should be as obvious, right? Should not be a guessing game, should be obvious, right? So that's what we need. An obvious trade, always, right? So we have that break and we have below that candle, right? Based on the MTAT. And what do we see below here? Are we seeing something clear? No, we are not seeing something clear here. So someone might argue that they are seeing something here, right? Someone might argue, think, me, I'm seeing something here. right? So this one is not as clear. I'm going to show you why. All right, so we're looking at other time frames as well to connect the dots. So I'm gonna, okay, I shows a space for a stop loss. So the stop loss is supposed to be here, right? As dodgy as it looks, let's use it. Let's see. Let's see where it throws us. All right, so we're gonna try to verify this, right, with the movement that's happening here, right? So that's one thing I want to test out. I'm just curious in this at this current point in time. Okay, fine. Remember, set M8 is the highest you can find, and we are finding this huge order block here. Huge order block there. Market, obviously. Right, we have that huge order block there, giving us this sell, and at the same time, market stops here, and the market actually goes up. So something here was happening. So which is what I want to explain, which goes with why the market didn't test the buy setup, right? And what to expect when it didn't test the buy setup, right? So it goes with that. So let's do this. So we have a break here. So I just want to highlight this so I know this is a pullback. Okay, let me use that line. Let me use this line. So red means pullback, basically. All right, so this was the pullback back to here, and obviously all these are pullbacks as well, right? So pullback, pullbacks, pullback, and this buy movement is also a pullback. So why am I saying this buy movement is also a pullback? Is because it didn't retest our buy setup, right? So it went close to it, but then didn't retest it. So when it does it like that, it's actually a pullback. So that's a pullback. So I want you to be seeing this as a pullback. The minute it doesn't retest your zone, that means the market is pulling back into somewhere, right? So now your main point now is to find where is it pulling back into, right? As you can see, this was all pullbacks happening here, right? Pullbacks. As you can see, we're using this highest A to find this area here, right? So instead of using, remember, we are looking for setup. So if it was going to be a setup, it was going to be here, right? So we're going to be basically looking here. But then that's not the case, right? Because the initial movement is a pullback. The initial movement is a pullback, right? Because it didn't test the buy zone. So everything's a pullback, right? In case you were wondering why I was interested here on this 15-minute pullback. So everything here is a pullback. So it's pulling back to somewhere. So that means step index is supposed to sell somewhere, right? So now we're gonna be finding where exactly, right? I'm gonna map out everything basically. So I'm gonna delete this just for a cleaner chart, right? And remember, we said this is a pullback. So we already know how to approach pullbacks. So we have that as a pullback. So 1 hour, 1 hour is annoying, right? So it's pulling back to a point where it's supposed to sell. So now we are finding our, not necessarily a sell setup, but a sell pullback, right? A sell pullback, which is going to send us back where? A sell pullback, which is going to send us back to here, right? So that means the market is going back to here, right? Not recommended to buy when it gets here. So I'm just going to watch and see. You'd rather catch the second entry if it gives the second entry. 1 hour. 1 hour is annoying. I forgot. 1 hour doesn't open. So MDT. So we have this structure here, Remember, we want pullback structure. We are more interested in a pullback structure. So we're having this structure here, and at the same time, we're having which structure? We're having this structure here. So I'm going to explain why I'm looking at all these structures. So I want the one, so this is a buy pullback, right? So this is a buy pullback to a sell pullback, right? It's a pullback to pullback. So buy pullback to a sell pullback. So this is the final movement before it even retests the sell pullback, right? As you can see, this one already retested the sell pullback. So this one doesn't count. We want the one that hasn't retested the sell pullback. So this is the buy pullback, right? That goes to the sell pullback, which didn't retest the pullback, right? Then it goes here. So now we know this is the structure to use. Then obviously when we're making pullbacks, obviously we're going where? Above here, right? So now we already have another structure for pullback. So we already know this is another entry for pullback, right? So this is another entry for pullback and it gets broken, right? And this is the break. So I'm gonna mark the break there. This is the break. And when you go below the candle that does the break, let's see if I marked it correctly. So I'm gonna do it here. And 1 hour. 1 hour is annoying, and that's the time frame I want to use. Let me save this so I can actually go to 1 hour. I want 1 hour here. I'm more interested in 1 hour. Let's see if it opens. Yeah, yeah, this is the time frame I wanted, right? That's why I was playing around on MTT a lot. So that's the one that I want. So 1 hour is pointing us where? It's pointing us below this candle. So I'm gonna take this here, put it below the candle that breaks above here, right? So that's below that candle, right? That breaks that pullback, right? So this is the whole pullback. Remember, when we're making a pullback, we're making the highest A instead of the lowest A, right? So this point here is this point here, but this point here is that point, right? Same goes for this point here is this point here, but this point here is actually this point here, right? So we are making the highest A, right? For pullback, given that the whole buy movement is a pullback. That's why, right? In case you are wondering. So we are going to MTT again to mark out the zone, right? Remember, we want something clear. So what's below the red line? We are seeing half of the order block, right? It's not as clear. You want a place where we can even put a stop loss, right? So this one we pass. It's not as clear, right? There's no way you can put a stop loss here. We want a place where you can put a stop loss, right? And when we look very, very, very closely, we are seeing this candle breaking above the first A, right? Then we have this A right here, which is clearer than the order block, right? So this one is clearer than the order block. I'm going to explain what makes a structure clearer than the other, right? So this one you can actually see where you're going to place your stop loss here, right? You're going to place your stop loss here. Why are you placing your stop loss behind the wick? It's a pullback, so that's a characteristic of a pullback, right? So that's something you should pick up. So when setting stop loss for pullback, you put it below or above Yeah, we have like 10 minutes or above a week, right? And we're gonna avoid, so avoid places with multiple weeks, right? So if a place has multiple weeks, then there's a problem, right? So you can ignore such places, right? As you can see, this is just 1 week, but there's places where there's like multiple weeks. Yeah, here's a prime example, right? I want you to look here. Let's say maybe a pipe pullback was happening here. You're gonna ignore that place, right? So that place is not all right? You should just see 1 week, right? As you can see, 1 week, not multiple weeks like this, right? Because imagine if you're gonna try to put your stop loss here and the market actually clears all these weeks, then goes up, it's gonna be annoying. So you're avoiding such things, right? So we're gonna use a place which has 1 week, right? Okay, fine. This is a buy pullback, right? So let's find where our buy pullback is actually gonna end. Remember where this now buy pullback happens, and we want the highest A. So the highest A here is this one, right? So this one is pointing where? It's pointing at this favorite gap. So we are marking that pullback as well, right below here. Yeah, now time is on to us, right? As you can see, obviously stop loss were below the week, factoring in obviously spread and stuff, right? As you can see, doesn't touch it, right? So it's safe there. So you get that buy pullback, right? Get that buy pullback. So we want another pullback, right? So remember, it's pullback to pullback, so it needs to be going to a pullback also. So how do you find a pullback on a bullish market? All right, so that's the question here, right? Is how to find a pullback on a bullish market, right? A sell pullback in this case, right? So we're gonna discuss it a bit. Sell, this is the sell pullback. Then we want to see if this sell pullback has another structure, but then this one already has this. So I'm gonna do quick analysis and explain a bit less. All right, we have this break here, go below, we have this structure, mark that structure, the structure gets broken. We have that structure gets respected. And before the structure gets respected, we have this one, right? So we have this one, right? Remember, stop losses go to 2 weeks, right? So that's how we're gonna verify if our analysis is showing us the correct thing, right? And it should make sense. So let's go to M15 and see if there's a place where you can put stop loss. Stop loss. If there's no place we can put a stop loss, that means we're doing something wrong. So, and the stop loss always it should be tiny. So it should always be tiny. And we just have an order block here on 10 minutes. Let's see on, gonna do it the right way. Right. And look at that. We actually don't have a place to put a stop loss here, right? No, there's multiple weeks, right? Which is what we're trying to avoid. So our sell pullback is not here, right? So we're gonna look for another place which has 1 week, right? So that one is it's not correct. So we can actually know it's not correct. That's how we verify. So you want another area. So you want another area. Okay, let me put other time before time runs out. I wanna like see other things as well in case I right. So there's the scenarios which can happen here, right? Since we didn't find our cell pullback here, right? We couldn't find our cell pullback here, right? Couldn't find our cell pullback here. So what you're gonna wait for is um this movement here. So this is like the first scenario, right? To go back here. Remember, market is going back here, right? So it either breaks both of them or one of them, right? Then gives you an entry to go back here, right? So that's what you're gonna wait for. Either this or this. So we're having two scenarios. So let me save both scenarios. Let me delete this. Yeah, we don't have any words. Okay, fine. All right, so that's the first scenario. Second scenario is breaking both, going below both. Then second scenario, then we know the market is going back where we wanted to go back to write our buy setup, and we're not gonna try and buy here. We're gonna just wait and see, right? So we are waiting for. We said we rather wait for a second entry. So I'm just gonna write it down as well. Rather wait for second entry, not the first. Edit this. I don't know which English is this one. Not the first, right? So we'd rather wait for the second entry, not the first. So let me save it for myself also, so I remember. So these are all pullbacks. So once they get broken, we get another sell pullback, and that sell pullback keeps heading where? To our buy setup, but then we're not buying on that setup, right? We're just waiting for the second entry, not the first. So that's what I'm currently seeing on step index with a bearish bias in mind, right? Which is proven right in this case. Yeah. Um, so that's what I'm currently seeing. Let's see. Stop the recording. So